Nonsense in the chaos. Wicked witches. Trusting the unknown. Welcome to the Nonsense in the Chaos. I'm your host, Jolie Rose. It's a grey, dismal day, but it feels good to have a bit of time out from the sunshine, because on Sark it feels like when it's sunny you have to put everything down and go be in the sun. And the heat wave that we had recently was far too hot to do anything practical. But where it started to turn and when it started to go grey and wet, I took the opportunity to decorate my studio. So those of you watching on the video can see that I now have a decorated studio. I've got a big blue circle in the background, and I've painted a diagonal, one side of the room on the diagonal, Yves Klein blue, which is my favourite blue. So Yves Klein, as an artist, was perfecting the colour blue, but it was actually off the back of being really interested and obsessed with martial arts and the elements, and it was fire that he was actually trying to capture. So he did loads of work in gold leaf and like fluttering gold leaf on canvases, and then this rose pink, which is the part of the flame, the rose pink part of the flame, and then he was capturing the blue, and then he got completely obsessed with the process of perfecting blue and patented like paint techniques that really captured colour in depth. And that's why I'm able to have this colour on my wall, is because of the techniques that he developed. And he perfected this blue, which is basically cobalt blue. It looks like cobalt blue, but it's so deep and almost purpley. It your eyes fall into it. It's amazing. And so where I've got the diagonal, one corner of my room looks like it just disappears. It looks infinite. I love it. And I grew up in a bedroom quite similar to this. So I grew up in a bedroom as a teenager that was black and white, but diagonally crossing where the dot is on my wall here. So on the main middle wall of my bedroom as a child, the lines crossed, and where it crossed, there was this sort of African eye. And the bits that were in the black were white and the bits in the white were black. And then that went up over the ceiling. And then I had a moon and stars in white in the black part of the ceiling. And then I had this walk-in wardrobe that was there for most of my teenage years. And then when I turned 18, the room got a bit of a... Oh, no, it wasn't 18. It was 15. So must have been 15 because I left home at 18 and moved to Australia. So, yeah, I think it was 15. I had the... No, so it would have been my 16th, because it was definitely an important birthday. So for my 16th birthday, the wardrobes got ripped out, and then the walls that were there, and it's when IKEA had just come out. IKEA was a new thing, and IKEA used a lot, especially when it first opened, it used a lot of this Yves Klein kind of blue, and it had these like drop down tier lights that were misty blue glass. So I got them for the middle of my room, and then I got the Yves Klein blue paint that was available at the time, and painted the walls where the walk-in wardrobe had been. And so I had this kind of blue corner. And it's funny, isn't it? Because when you're a teenager, time's so much more expanded and stretched. And it felt like I had that room for ages, but I was only there 2 years before I then left home and moved to Australia. But those 2 years felt like a long time. So, and I lived there with my boyfriend. I had a fiance who proposed to me when I was 16. I think we got together when I was 15, but I was 16 when he proposed to me, and we were engaged for 2 years. And he was my first proper boyfriend, and he used to live with me in that room, and then we used to also live at his parents'. We kind of lived between each other's houses, so I sort of felt like I'd left home a bit before I actually did. Then went off to Australia, and then when I was in Australia I went to the Yves Klein exhibition. So I think I didn't know, in terms of the order of things, I think I was drawn to the colour of the blue that IKEA was using, and I really liked it. And then when I was in Australia, my best friend Dennis, who, me and Saffron, we were the terrible threesome growing up, and Dennis is an incredible lady. She's had a real huge life. In fact, it'd be awesome to interview Dennis because she's had such an amazing life. That's a really good idea. I'm definitely going to do that, actually. She was living with me in Australia. We moved to Australia together, and she knew about Yves Klein. She was from a very cultured, artistic family, and told me to go to this exhibition, and we went, and it was so good. The whole exhibition space was white, and then you had some of the gold and some of the rose pink, but most of it was this blue, but just things like natural sponges dipped in the blue or canvases covered in the blue. And then he did lots of work with texture. And so the round spot behind me on the wall, what I'd like to do is actually make that into a 3D textured sculpture of the moon using plaster, and then paint it blue again, and then put a rim of LED lights around the edges so it lights up, and so there's actually like a big blue moon behind me, which would be awesome. But yeah, the exhibition was done so well because you had the headphones that people walked around listening to, and they told you a bit about what was going on, but mainly it was really sort of funky, beautiful jazz music. And so it stopped people from talking, because I think if it was just being piped through the space, it would be different. The fact it was on your ears and you were walking through the exhibition with these, because it must have been that there was an order that we were going round, because there were bits where it was telling you about the martial arts, and it was telling you these quotes, because one of the quotes I remember was, first there was nothing, then there was void, then there was blue. And I was 18, I still remember that now, and just feeling like I could fall into these canvases. And I loved the concept of an artist perfecting a colour, rather than trying to perfect painting the female form or all the other things that artists do. It was the fact that it was trying to perfect a colour. That was like, that's really cool. I think that was probably when I sort of first started to get what actual art is, which creativity is curiosity, and that anything is art, even perfecting a colour is art. And so been sort of philosophizing. There you go, got there in the end. Philosophizing a lot this week and weekend. It's been the Sagittarius full moon. I had a lovely interview with AJ last week. She sent me lots of interesting things to look at, been mulling over, and was revisiting my relationship with money, because it occurred to me that 6 months ago, we had this sort of surprise Sagittarius dark moon that was the lead up to New Year's Eve. Normally, you'd have a Capricorn dark moon, and that's a very understandable dark moon to have at that time of year, because dark moons are all about setting an intention, and Capricorn is methodical. It's led by Saturn, so it's all about like long-term planning, foundations, what's the mountain we're going to climb this year as a goat? How are we going to get up this mountain? What's the steps that we're going to put in place? Like it's the planning star sign. So it makes sense that that's the one that you get before New Year. But because of the way the moons fell, moving around the calendar, it was just that Capricorn dark moon was after New Year's Eve. It was in January. And Sagittarius dark moon was the one that we had before Christmas. And so that to me suggested being more like there was something else that we needed to explore, or like really shoot for the stars. So it was a bit less like Capricorn be like, okay, now how are you going to do that? But the Sagittarius dark moon being just before New Year, it was like, okay, what are we going to really go for? And this was a 10-year where we're turning our lead into gold. And for me, my biggest lead, my heaviest lead is is money, and that has always been. And then I said that's what I was going to explore. I was going to explore the mythos of gold. And I burnt some money, and then my whole life transformed. And I, with any offering, like with the pilgrimages, you don't and cannot do them for something. You can't go into it thinking I'm doing this for something. You just do it. You just do it as offerings. It's the same with the fairy tree that I have here on Sark. I make things for the fairy tree. I leave things there. I don't do it for a reason. I do it just because it's a lovely thing to do, and it's for the fairies. It's an offering for the fairies. And yeah, so I've just been trusting and following where the universe has led me in response to offerings that I've made. So moving to Sark and forever moving closer to this valley that we're now in. And yeah, the relationship to place and people and community, all of this, and the love, this amazing love that I've been absolutely blessed to have and experience. It's been an amazing journey, and has felt like beautiful, complicated gifts. They're not just like happy ever after fairy tale gifts. They come with their own sets of puzzles and problems and difficulties and obstacles, but it definitely feels like a higher version of me, with higher or lighter and more brighter and more sparkly problems and obstacles. Everything feels more interesting in a way. Yeah, it's like an ongoing process. And have burnt this money in this time 6 months ago, and in the last 6 months my whole financial world has completely changed, and I'm now a 47-year-old with no mortgage, with a 4-bedroom house. Like, no one saw that coming. And it doesn't mean anything, and it means so much as well. Like, it's meant that my relationship to money has to now be different. I can't, even though I'm still on £12 an hour working in a pub, I'm in a completely different situation than I was before, and it just was so out of nowhere. So it's interesting that that's what happened, and where to go from here now next. And then I burnt some more money on the Sagittarius full moon, again, not with any intention, not with like, oh, and now what? In fact, actually, I had a conversation with gold. So I riffed with gold beforehand, where you write down and chat with an entity. And I chatted with gold. And the gold said to me, like, there's the outer world, but there's the inner world gold as well. And what actually is your biggest gold, and what's your biggest lead in the inner world? And then the next morning I had an email, and the email was regarding financial skeletons in my closet that need dealing with, or have needed to be dealt with, that are like icky, like things that make your blood run cold. But it's something that I kind of knew was there, and I thought I'd kind of got away with, but also was a bit uncomfortable with, and knew it wasn't like quite right. And it's come back. It's come out of nowhere as well, which is also a little bit like, has someone dobbed me in? Because it doesn't really make sense that this has been asked. It's a little bit suspect that they've done it. I'm a bit quizzical as to why it's come up. So yeah, it's put me in a bit of a position where I'm going to have to be honest. And in a way, it's good, because it was something that was lead. It's something that was in my closet that felt leaden, even though literally haven't done, the things that it was regarding have all happened and have come to pass and have been done properly and to the T and legitimately. And actually, more than that, huge, beautiful, big, wonderful things have happened that were meant to happen. And I'm pleased with them and proud of them. And it's really good that they happen. But it needs to be cleared up. And hopefully by me being honest and admitting things won't go as badly as they possibly could. So I've got to trust the universe, but also it just feels very apt that it came about straight after burning the money. And it feels like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Like it was easy. It would have been easy for me to retreat into the fear and the blood running cold that I felt reading the email is my old demon of the abyss. And that demon of the abyss is actually what the Sagittarius moon represented. So in terms of the tarot cards that in fact, actually, I'm going to check. Yeah, the art card. Interesting. So the tarot card that is associated with Sagittarius in the Thoth deck is the art card. In the Rider-Waite deck, that would be Temperance. The art card it's really interesting. So the art card is an image of a being split in two, like my bedroom, pouring two different potions into a cauldron with a lion and a dragon or a gargoyle or something watching on either side. And they're doing alchemy, which is what art is. Art is making something out of nothing. And that is what this money was related to. It's to do with art. It's interesting. That's really interesting. That sort of blew me away a little bit. And that number, I can't remember what the number is associated with it, but if you add that up with the High Priestess card, which is the card for the moon, it makes 63. And the number 63 means rolling over, and then also demon of the abyss. So it's like, what needs rolling over? What is it that you need to just let go of and shed and move on? And then also, what are the demons that have returned that you thought you dealt with, and what's come up that needs working on and clearing? And Sagittarius is very much about truth. It's interesting because it's not ruled by Mercury, it's ruled by Jupiter. So it's all about being expansive and expanding. But it's interesting that it almost feels like a Mercury retrograde, like this full moon that's just been, the amount of arguments and like just kerfuffle that happened at the pub and with people. But loads of truth came out about people cheating on people, and all sorts of relationship stuff came out over this moon. But all of it is going to mean that people will live more expansive lives because they're going to be living in a truth now. Like even the person who did the cheating doesn't have to lie anymore or live behind that lie anymore. They can move on. And it's a bit like how I feel about what's happened with this. So another thing that's coming up for me that I feel is a strong feeling for me is, so I'm here and I'm in the house and I want to do things here and I want to create stuff and bring people here and work with the valley more, and I want to be getting in and into the work with the valley. I'm feeling like the next project that I want to get sorted is building a cob fireplace and fire seating area outside with a pizza oven, but also with an altar. And I want to be able to start like sitting outside and holding my ceremonies and things outside, because it's nice to have this room and the backdrop and it all looks lovely. But I also feel like it's time to start doing things outside in the valley more, because this valley feels important. And then, yeah, the work that I'm doing, I've done a lot of stuff online, but I'm just wondering whether it's time to start moving it into the physical world. I've been advertising and talking about the Which Fool Are You course, and I've only had one person sign up to it. And last year I didn't run it either because no one really signed up to it. And last year I just kind of kept it quiet because I actually had quite a few people saying, oh, I can't do it this year, but I will do it next year. So I was like, well, okay, I'll keep quiet that it didn't happen and I'll just advertise it again next year. But I've only had one person get in touch about doing it this year. And so now I'm like, okay, so I think that the price is totally reasonable. I've struggled with doing things before where I'll put it too cheap or I'll make it so cheap that people don't sign up for it. I mean, maybe I need to reduce the price. It's really difficult. It's difficult because I see other courses and other things where people are charging way more than what I'm charging. And one of the things that I've been trying to do myself is to value myself more, and to say, look, I'm worth this. If I put a lower price on it, it will look like I'm not as experienced as I am. And this is like 8 years I've been doing this now. I am really experienced. The Which Fool Are You course is really good. I really enjoy doing it, and I see huge effects from it. So I don't want to belittle it by then reducing the price. And there are cheap, there are payment plans and lower paying spaces available on it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I need to change the format and bring people here. That sort of feels like maybe it would be more useful if I did do that. And yeah, I don't know. But obviously also if I did that, I'd have more expenses. And so that changes things. But it feels like things need to shift up a little bit. Or now I'm here, I change what I'm doing slightly and how I've been doing it, because something's not quite working with that. And it's such an important offering that I offer. Like for me, it's something that I don't want to stop doing. Like, oh, no one's interested in it then, because I've seen, well, in myself, I know how much I've got out of doing it, and it's been profound, So yeah, I don't know the answer to that, and that I think probably means it's time to read a rune. If you enjoy this podcast, then do consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Jolie Rose. I was listening to Blind Boy's podcast today, who's amazing and is one of my favourite podcasts. In fact, it is my favourite podcast. There used to be two. One was We Can Be Weirdos and the other was Blind Boy. But sadly, We Can Be Weirdos has stopped. It's finished, and I'm absolutely gutted, because that probably was my favourite. I love Blind Boy as well. Blind Boy is slow and lilting and so smart, and he really soothes my being listening to him, because my career's kind of run parallel to him a little bit. I have had quite a lot of interactions with him over the years. He wouldn't know about it. I was the background to Tourette's Hero, he'll remember Tourette's Hero, but I was the producer and I was the cat nun in the performance of Backstage in Biscuitland, which toured Edinburgh the same time when Blind Boy was part of Rubber Bandits, and they were there performing. And so when he's talking about his old performances and his journey, I've been there alongside him for it, and I've been at many of the places that he's talking about, and he's absolutely smashing it and is doing really well. And I have done what I've done, which there's no such thing as failure. It's been my journey, and it's been an incredible journey, and I've done loads of amazing things, and I'm grateful for every second of everything that's happened in my life, because it's amazing. And I also know that people would listen to me or watch what I do and be really envious of what I do. And I always just think back to the sunscreen song, Wear Sunscreen, which is my Bible. Like, that is literally what I refer back to whenever I'm lost, I suppose. And it says in that, remember the race is long, and in the end it's only with yourself. And comparison is the thief of joy, which is what my mentor always said, who I'd also love to interview, but she doesn't want to be interviewed, which is really annoying. But the amazing Andrea Brooks, she always says comparison is the thief of joy. And it is, and that's the point. Like, there is no validation in success. Blind Boy's podcast this week is beautiful for this exact subject, which is all about, like, I'm no better than any human being, and no human being is better than me, and we're all little toddlers, and that if you remember that you're a little toddler and that's what your artist is, no toddlers are better than each other. They're all just playing in the play pit, being themselves and cracking on, and that's what we are. That's what the kingdom of heaven is. Apparently, when you enter the kingdom of heaven, you enter as a toddler. And I love that. And he, in terms of ADHD-ness or being neurodivergent, he also gives so much great advice and support. And one of the things he said this week, which was really interesting, is that podcasts are being pushed to be video. Now, I do record mine as video, but that's because it's no skin off my nose. It doesn't change my editing software process. It can be filmed and I can edit it. And the video is for people who support me on Patreon as an extra, but it's not an issue for me to do it. But it's primarily an audio podcast. Like, that's what I'm creating. And we are being pushed, that everything's being pushed for us to be video, which I honestly don't know why they're doing that, because I don't watch video hardly at all. I hardly use YouTube. If I can watch a short thing on Instagram showing me how to put something up or do something, rather than having to watch like a 5-10 minute video on YouTube, I will do that. Even though I make quite long YouTube videos for me doing the cards readings each month, I'm like, if someone wants to watch it, they can watch it. I'll video myself doing it, because I'll be doing it anyway. I know I could make it shorter and make it more into an Instagram-y short thing. But God, do you know the amount of time it takes to do all these things? It's ridiculous. Like, what are we here to do? Like, if I spent all my time doing that, then what I would really be is a content creator person, rather than the priestess, pilgrim, nature following person that I am. Like, I don't want to spend all of my time in front of a screen making things work on a screen. So I do what I can, and I try and learn the tricks and play along with things. But this is one that I can't get behind. We are audio. I mean, I listen to my audiobooks and audio podcasts while I'm doing other things. I don't want to be having to look at it. I'm not going to look at it. If I'm ever at a point where I'm going to look at something, I will be looking at a book. I don't want to be watching a long video, or I'll be watching telly and a film, and it's something where I'm really switching off. It's not, I don't want this kind of content on a big screen, sitting watching something that I could be listening to. So, as Blind Boy pointed out, is to support your audio podcasts by following, by sharing, by telling people about them, by supporting their Patreon if you can. If you enjoy audio podcasts and it's something that you want to keep going, then support it. You need to make them happen, because the algorithms are going to be starting to push us down, just to fight against them, because they've obviously just decided, because it's easier to advertise and sell products through, that they've decided that they want to push video, and that's bullshit. So yeah, support me if you can. And it can be financially, or it can be through word of mouth, or it can be through sharing online, all those sorts of things, following, liking, all that kind of thing. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. We have got the Which Fool Are You workshop still being advertised. If no one else signs up for it, I need at least 3 people for it to be able to really run, because part of it's group work support. And if that's not happening, then I'm not going to be able to run it. It is brilliant, and I'm not just saying that. I would be sad to not do it again, because I didn't do it last year, and it's changed my life in so many ways. Like, if you want to know how or where or why I am confident and self-knowing in the way that I am, it's because of this work, and it's work that is from a very long, lengthy process of flipping heck, how long? Since 2007, so 20 years now, nearly. I've been doing this work, and it was through Jonathan Kay and doing the fooling training with the Nomadic Academy of Fools, training as a fool and learning about archetype and working with archetype and discovering and learning my inner world. I mean, one thing I will probably do in the future is do circle plays, and that's something I do physically here, and that's another element from fooling. That's the deepest work we do, but the deepest work we do is circle plays and archetypal work. And I took that element of it and I created the Which Fool Are You course, and it's been so powerful. And the people I know who've done it are now like high priestesses running covens, or have changed gender, or all sorts of things. Like, they've stepped into being themselves in a way that they weren't before, and it's so powerful. And I'm a bit confused as to why it seems to have died off in the last couple of years, but it's an offering. If you want to come and do it, then please do. I'll run it if there's enough people doing it. I also have a creative writing workshop happening in Sark as part of the Creative Sark week, and that's coming up in June. And that's going to be a day writing about nature, and we're going to go immerse ourselves in nature the 9th of June, so that's next Tuesday. So if you're in the Channel Islands, if you're in Guernsey and you fancy signing up for that, then it would be amazing to have you come along, and we'll spend the day immersing ourselves in nature and learning about nature writing. And what else? Anything else coming up? I think that's it for the moment. I'm going to be at Boomtown doing the opening ceremony again. Hopefully, maybe on the bigger stage. There's a new big stage which is even bigger than the stages I've been on already, and I think we might be on the Lion's Den stage, so that would be exciting. So if you're going to be at Boomtown, come and see us at the opening ceremony. And other than that, on with the show. Interesting. So I haven't pulled this rune very often. It's courage. It's the M. So it looks like an M, and it is actually the letter E in the rune alphabet. Eoaz, I think it is. And it's about the horse kind of with its blinkers on, being steadfast and moving forward. So it's about being brave, being courageous, and just keep going, keep moving forward, like stubbornly keep treading your path. And what that feels like with me, with what I'm doing is, like I feel a bit, oh, what am I going to do? What am I doing? What do I do now? Like, I feel like I got the place sorted. There's still things that I want to do, but what do I do? And it's just to keep going. So keep going. Things like get the fire pit built, put the word out like I have done about possibility of doing circle plays, doing Which Fool Are You maybe in person rather than online. It does mean that you've got to get here. It will make it even more expensive than it's going to be online, but it's a different way of doing it. And part of what is so amazing about where I've ended up being is that it's so beautiful that maybe that's part of what the offerings should be or need to be, is to be like, come here, come spend time here and immerse yourself in Sark, whilst we also do the Which Fool Are You course or circle plays. And I want to call them Sarkle plays that look a bit sparkly, so it looks like sparkle, but Sarkle plays. Circle plays are where you hold a circle. So with Jonathan Cain, The Fools, it was the most profound work that we did. And you definitely needed to be courageous with this work. It was terrifying. But you sit in a circle and we spend a long time working through each person's quest, because you're going on a quest ion. So it's about you going on a quest into the inner world. And it's so powerful. It's the most powerful thing I've ever done over ayahuasca, over any of the spiritual whatevers that are out there. This is the biggest thing I've ever done by far. It's just you, sober, working on your question. What's your question? So say at the moment, my quest ion might be, where is my gold? And then we work on each other's questions to untwist it. So the untwisting of where is my gold might be what is gold? What is my gold? Or who has my gold? And you kind of wait until it sort of hits an emotional gong. Who has my gold did a bit there, that hit a gong, and it actually made me already see that I might go in there and I might find my father with the gold, because for me, my deepest wound, my greatest pain is my parents splitting up, and it was over money. As far as I'm concerned, it isn't necessarily, that's not the truth. I've spoke to my mum about this, and also based on his behaviour and actions post my parents splitting up, he probably was going to leave at some point anyway, because it is kind of a habit of his. But at the time, my story was, my dad left because of money. Money is bad, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not as good as money, and I'm not good enough. And that shows in everything I do. Like all of the conversation I'm having here about money, it's still the thing that's my biggest puzzle. I'm not good enough, and I'm not as good as money. I wasn't worth staying for. And it was the recession, it was my dad's company going under, he'd taken some risks, he'd become a computer programmer when all of it was new, and he chose the kind of beta versus VHS. He chose the sort of beta program, computer programming language, that didn't end up being the one that survived out of the ones that were, it wasn't DOS, it was another one. And he lost everything, and he got himself in quite a lot of debt, like taking risks to move us from a council house into a wimpy housing estate house, and got a better car. He basically upgraded our lives a bit beyond his means. And then when the recession hit, lost everything. And I just remember him headbutting the wall and headbutting the steering wheel of the car and sending the car horn off, and all the neighbours looking at the curtains. And, it's just... And then he went off with my drama teacher, and drama's my, theatre's my thing. And so theatre's always had this sort of bitter sweetness to it. Like I always wanted to make it as an actress and make it as a performer. And then very much like have always been involved in theatre, and it's always been part of my life, but it also bites me all the time. I mean, that's what's also happening right now. The bite that I'm currently getting is via the arts and via the theatre that I've been making. And it's painful. For me, my relationship to theatre is continuously painful, annoyingly. And my relationship to money is continuously negative, but what I was saying to the ladies last night, because I held a women's circle here last night at my house on Sark, and it was brilliant. We really needed it. All of us really needed it. We all had a lot to share. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and it was brilliant. Really needed. And what the upshot of all of it was, whatever your thing is, it's not about getting rid of it. It's like the horse and the courage and the looking forwards and being steadfast. It's about you continually working on that issue. Like my eternal judgment is I'm not good enough, and it's because of my relationship to money, and that will always be there. It's just that it will keep being looked at from different perspectives and coming at it from different angles. I'm now a 47-year-old woman with a 4-bedroom house with no mortgage, and I'm on £12 an hour, and I'm not a famous actress. And yet I'm still making theatre, and I'm still working in a performative way, and I'm using my performance skills to make something and do something. Sorry, and I just went off on all of that instead of doing the circle play. So the circle play would basically be me going and performing that, but physically doing it. And everything I just did was all from the place of thinking. So that was the thinking, that was me telling the story, but that's probably what would have visibly come out in the performance. So I'd start performing that. Like, what do you see? Oh, I see my dad headbutting the wall. So then I would play my dad. So the circle would support you to then do the thing. So it's like, right, now be your dad. Now be the wall. And by being the wall and being my dad, I would find freedom and movement within that story that doesn't exist. So what I just told you, which is from my thinking, from the outer world, is the story I'm perpetually captured within. It's my judgment. It was where the twist twisted, and it's been there ever since, and I will always be living through that. And I have the story that I've just regurgitated. You've probably heard me say it a million times on the podcast, but when you work within the circle play, I would play the table, I would play the computer program system, I would play the computer, the Amstrad on the desk, I'd play the neighbours looking through the window, I'd play the car horn. You would play all the bits, and in doing so, you discover different ways of looking at the story that are not what you have been living through all these years. And it's so powerful. And the other thing that can happen is you can not see anything and you can freeze. But when you do that, you, over time, because if you do that every time you get up, over time you realise what you're... And you might not see it, but it'll be afterwards. The people in the circle are not there as an audience. We're there as witnesses. So we witness you and we feed back what we've seen. And like there were some people who, basically everyone had a completely different defence mechanism. So some people, it was like they were in a hall of mirrors. They just couldn't, and bless them, that person was trying to hide from the fact they were gay. And we were working with them for years, and it was so obvious they were gay, but they just didn't want to be and wouldn't admit it, and were fighting it every step of the way. And because they were so preoccupied with that, they couldn't be present, they couldn't do anything else. So they were all like, every time we were turning up at a venue to do a piece of work at a workshop or whatever it was, you'd open the door and they'd go running past in the wrong direction because they were lost and they were late, and they just were always lost. They were always late. They were always getting locked in courtyards because they shut the door behind them and there was no way to get through the next door, and then they were just locked in a courtyard, and like just all the time that's what happened to them. And then there was someone else who was just massive and clumsy like a giant bear, and then there was someone else who was like this screaming banshee on a mountain, and she just was always like lost in this melodramatic, and if there was a big red button she'd push it. And then someone else who was like a maelstrom of dust. They always reminded me of that character from Peanuts, the dirty boy that's just a dust storm. Like there was someone else who was like that. And it's amazing because you start to see people in this 3D way where you can see the puzzle that they've put around themselves as a protective structure, and they're all slightly different, and that's part of their inner world. But then when you drop that and you let yourself just breathe, and the main trick to it, and the main way of all of these things, like with the horse and like with pilgrimage and with all these things, is to just move. And that's what I feel magic and spells are, is putting one foot forward, doing something physical and making something happen in action, which moves things forward. And therefore you then start doing. So with circle plays, literally just start moving, and then you're moving, and then it goes into body, and it stops being in the head and it becomes embodied, and the movement becomes something. if you just stand there and wait to see something, your head will be like, I can't see anything. And then you won't be able to do it. So it's an amazing process, because watching other people, you see what they do, you see how they fuck it up, or they fuck themselves over, and you see how amazing it is when they share, and you see how every single person has a different flavour, and that everyone's inner worlds are different. And then you start going, that's got that flavour, that's that sort of flavour, that's that archetype, that's what that archetype is, that archetype has that flavour, and they belong to that. And that person's got a bit of it as well. That person's is completely different. That person has this whole other flavour going on. And that's how you then learn about archetypes. And, I did that work. I'm still doing it now. It's still part of my practice is that. And so I've been doing that 20 years. And, pretty mega. It's pretty mega stuff. And I love it. And it is about being courageous. And it's about putting one foot in front of the other, put one hoof in front of the other, and just keep going and trust. And so, yes, let's come up with a chaos crusade. My chaos crusade. I haven't thought of anything to say. Oh, look, okay. So exactly what I just said. Start moving. Okay, well, there you go. That's the chaos crusade. Something where you are stuck, somewhere where you feel like you're stuck, to do a movement surrounding it. So, and for me, I will do this around money, to do something. So it might be to send an email. Like I have received this email, and it's confronting and it's scary. And part of me is like, I could just not respond to it. I mean, do they know where I live? All they have is my email address. I could block them, and I could just ignore them and just see what the repercussions are. And the repercussions might be that I can't go to these people for funding again, but I already know I can't go to them for funding again because my circumstances have changed, and I know I'm definitely staying here. I'm not applying there anymore anyway, so I could just not respond to them, and there is that option. But the universe appears to be telling me, because it came straight after me burning the money, and because of me pulling this rune, and because of the conversation that I'm having with you, like, obviously this is icky, me talking to you about this stuff, but this is what, I will always share with you. I'm an oversharer, but I'm sharing with you what my current situation is and what's going on, so that it hopefully is inspiring or helpful to you to look at what's going on in your life that's maybe really icky. Like, this is icky, but this is my skeleton. It's not that bad. Like, it's not like I've killed someone or done something really awful. Like, the biggest thing I've ever regretted in my life was I was a cleaning lady for a time in Brighton, and I was cleaning for this lovely old lady, and she once gave me a Christmas bonus, plus she was paying me for next week's clean. Because it was Christmas, she was giving me the money up front, but there was some other reason. But anyway, I didn't go back. Like, I got really messed up over Christmas because I had this extra money. I got completely trashed, and then just was too broken to go the next week to clean, and I just never went back. And I felt so awful about that for forever. I mean, I only thought about it again recently, I think because of when this email came up. I was like, this is the biggest skeleton in my closet. It's the one thing that the millionaires were able to hold over me, which is why I'm wondering whether someone's said something, but it doesn't really make any sense because I'm not sort of doing anything particularly cantankerous in the government at the moment. I mean, if anything, like, my term's coming to an end in November, and I'm sort of basically just hanging in there at the moment. I'm not really participating. I'm going to the meetings, but I'm not really, I'm not pulling my weight in a way, but I also have tried to leave 3 times, and I keep being made to stay. Because I've been too busy, and because I'm putting on 2 more festivals next year. Like, I'm not the only individual on this island that actually makes the island money properly. That might not be true. Someone might be like, think about this person. But as far as, like, when I put on Beltane, I absolutely inject this economy with money. And the only other things that do that's like sheep racing, which is an old tradition that's been going on for 20 years, and the people who do it are part of a committee that is a rolling committee. Like, they haven't been doing it the whole 20 years. And that's it. So I am the cash injection this island gets, and I'm doing that as an individual who's getting paid £12 an hour as a barmaid, and then I'm also working voluntarily in the government Like I'm doing a lot, and then next year I'm putting on 2 more festivals, so I'm going to be putting 3 cash injections into this island, and I'm an individual doing that off my own back. And and that's why I feel a bit annoyed and resentful about the money thing coming up with the skeleton, because it's like, well, I still did the thing, I still delivered the thing, I still impacted hundreds of people's lives, and have done a really positive thing with that money. And yeah, so it's a part of me sort of is a bit annoyed and resentful about it, but at the same time, it's my thing that needs clearing up. So what needs clearing up? Like, is there a skeleton, or is there something that you've just been putting off forever that feels icky? And is there an action that you can take that will help clear it up? And be brave, like use the horse and the blinkers, and just be like, just make a move, like in that circle play, go on that quest and just do a thing to open stuff up and to move things forward. And I apologise if it goes wrong. Hopefully it doesn't cause you massive difficult. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this, and part of me, like I said, wants to just press block and not respond to it. But I know that's not what the universe is asking me to do right now, and so I have to put on my big girl pants, be brave, follow the horse rune, and send my email response saying, technically no, things were in flux. I wasn't 100% certain where I was going to be. Since I've known where I'm going to be, I haven't been applying, but this is where I'm at. So yeah, and we hopefully all will be well, but we'll see. Watch this space. I'll let you know. If I'm going to prison, no, not really. I wouldn't be going to prison for it. It would just be a slapped wrist, but it's annoying. Yeah, such an oversharer. If my husband heard me saying all of this, he'd be like, what are you doing? But, it's not even like I can say I trust you, I don't even know you. But I trust the process, I trust the universe, and I trust that this is meant to be happening. And it is. This is what's happening. This is what the Sagittarius truth, like the truth card in, there's an amazing Lisa Lister deck that I've got. It's her first ones, the Sassy She cards. And there's this truth card, and there's just this woman with a sword, and she's just cutting through, and she's really like rah, and she just will not put up with any shit. And Sagittarius and Scorpio are both that card. Like Sagittarius, and interesting, my ex-husband and my brother and my best friend from back home were all born on the Sagittarius Scorpio cusp, so I know what that energy's like really well. It's very right. They're always right. It's they know they are right, basically, but also just not, they will cut through bullshit. Like if someone's lying or something, they'll call it out. They're people that are not scared to say and do the hard things, like all in different ways. They're all very different people, but they will, yeah, some of them are more toxic in the way they do it than others, but they were very much that card when I see this woman with this sword cutting through the bullshit. And that's what the energy, what I'm feeling from this Sagittarius dark moon, and from what I've seen around me, relationships breaking up and all sorts of things. It's like, but it's better that it's done. It's better that it's sorted out, and you can move on, and you can move on to higher things. So here's to expansive, higher, bigger lives because of us dealing with our demons from the abyss. So with that, I shall see thee anon.